How do you know if you blew your BMW engine? Well, first, you'll hear some noises. And if you don't hear a noise, then take a look inside your oiling system. Oh man, there it is. There's the glitter. It's not much though. Oh shit. Well, yeah, it's a lot more than I thought it was. I think it's time to start looking for a new engine.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Auto Lust YouTube channel. And if you caught the last video, then you know we were having some problems with Sasha. We whittled down the things that could possibly be a problem, and I think we figured it out. I think it's actually two things which is the problem. But today we got something a lot more special, and I'm gonna let you see exactly what it is. If you're new to the channel or you haven't been watching the channel in a while, my LCI F01 named Olivia, her engine took a shit a couple of months ago. I'ma just, ain't no other way to pretty much say that. So we don't know exactly what happened with the engine. We just know that when we popped the oil filter housing cap off, it was a bunch of metal in it. So what I did was it took a while to actually find a lower mileage, engine that was in, same price, that was in the same price range. Because people just think they attach BMW to things, and it's like $500 cheaper than buying a brand new one from the dealership. So we finally got a new one, a new to me engine that we're gonna refresh. And most of the refresh parts are in the back of Sasha right now, which also her new parts, one of her new parts came in that I think is going to fix her idle issue, because she idles, she already idled nasty like a camped big block, but now she idles like a camped alcohol drag car. It's crazy, and she's not supposed to idle like that, and it causes multiple misfires while she's idling. But she drives perfectly fine on throttle. So the truck should be pulling in any minute now with Olivia's engine. But while we're waiting on Olivia's engine, let's look at these refresh parts we got, because we got a lot. Keep in mind that this is only about half of the refresh parts, as the other half is currently installed on the blown engine. So before the engine blew, we did rod bearings and rod bolts. I did factory, the upgraded, I think it's the V2 rod bolts that were just released not too long ago, a new oil pan gasket, and I did King racing bearings. We're thinking the racing bearings was the problem. I don't know if I had a counterfeit, a defective set, or what, but we're gonna find out. But we got a brand new oil pan gasket. Big, huge shout out to CTS Tuning, man. ECS Tuning, not CTS. Big shout out to ECS Tuning for sponsoring Olivia with the best. These are literally the best rod bearings you can get, and these aren't just ACL rod bearings. As you can see, they're WPC treated ACL rod bearings. And if you don't know what WPC treatment is, check this out. Exactly. So, and they also hooked us up with, some great rod bolts, ARP 2000 rod bolts. Even though I'm not gonna, push Olivia very, very hard, it's good to have this, weak point that's in her engine, rectified, which is the rod bearings and rod bearing clearance. So I'm glad we got that done. I'm also replacing, if you also don't know, Olivia jumped the curb and bust all four of her Alpina like 22-inch wheels. She damaged a lot of things on the front end. So, I never got a chance to swap this stuff. Well, we just did outer tie rods, but I'm going to redo the outer and inner tie rods, so everything on the front end is refreshed. If you're new to the channel or you just happen to miss some of these videos, I'm going to add Olivia's playlist down in the description so anyone can catch up and see these videos which I'm referring to. Also, the thermostat to water pump hose needs to be replaced because this end cap here is turning brown, and when this end cap here turns brown like a milky chocolate color, it's time to replace it. It's supposed to be nice and shiny black. When it starts turning brown, it's time to replace. Also, I'm taking the lowering kit off of her. I only had it on for a couple of months. As you can see, she sits pretty low for a 7 series. That's because I have H&R lowering springs on it. So I'm putting the factory springs back on, which these are the factory springs, the manufacturer of the factory springs, and the rear links on. So if you know, if anybody wants a lowering kit for a it has to be a 740 I or LI with the rear wheel drive only, because these springs is it's crazy, but these springs and links are only for this car. So it has to be a 740 with rear wheel drive only, and this kit will fit. You know, I'm pretty much giving it away dirt cheap, so hit me up on IG if you guys want to lower your 7 series. But also, we're gonna upgrade the turbo inlet. I had this turbo inlet sitting around because I wasn't gonna upgrade it until I went with the upgraded turbo, but since the engine is already out, I'm gonna go ahead and pop it on anyways. And also, we're gonna be cleaning the intake valves. You know, if you don't know, any BMW engine is horrible because it's direct injection. So the valves that doesn't get a chance. Well, the new BMW engines I hear are both port and direct, but my engines are both direct. So I'm gonna be taking the intake manifold off and cleaning this before the engine even goes in. You know, this stuff here eats it like it's been hungry for 10 years. And also we have that wheel bearing bolt. If you guys didn't catch that video when I did the wheel bearings, when she first messed her wheels up, you know, wheel bearing went bad. I replaced all front and stripped out a screw or a bolt, and this is the new upgraded bolt. It isn't that crazy 12 spline or 12 point bolt head anymore. I guess they give you the regular head, and that's OE. Have oil cooler gaskets, both of them oil cooler housing gaskets, which that seems to be a problem on the N55. Redoing that, and also some undershield little, I guess these things, they go into the chassis.
A few moments later.
All right, Olivia's engine is finally here. We got the best caretakers in the world, Mr. Boosted BIMMERS and Autolust himself. And thank you to AAA Cooper Transportation. And he can't turn the trailer inside, too many cars out here, so we bought the engine table to try to pull it on. What? It's sketchy? This way sketchy? I mean, there's no way we finna get it up this hill though. You know, that engine ain't light. So we load it right here on this corner. Yeah, just like that. And that bitch go up quick.
I know, but I came earlier. He wasn't there. He said hi. He was real nice.
Then he went to tripping again.
When I came.
All right, as a whole, the engine doesn't look too bad. I mean, of course it's dirty. It's a used engine, and I took the oil cap off so I can look inside of it. But other than that, the engine doesn't look too bad at all. But I mean, literally nothing on this engine I'm gonna use besides the engine itself. You know, almost all of the exterior components, like the oil cooler, which I don't even use that oil cooler. I have an M car, so it has a front mounted oil cooler. The oil cooler housing, the intake, I have a brand new valve cover. You know, I have a bunch of brand new stuff. You know, all of the plastic parts that you want to make sure you change, like the Mickey Mouse ears and all of that crap. Brand new tensioner, brand new belt, brand new idler pulley. Literally everything on my engine is brand new, so it's gonna be swapped. But yeah, other than that, you know, it looks. I mean, the engine looks pretty good. You know, it just needs to be, you know, cleaned up a little bit. So I'm gonna do a little pressure wash on it to get all the oil and crap off of it, so when we do go to swapping parts over and stuff, it's a lot easier. Yeah, but it was hell, and Jimmy rigged as hell getting this engine on this engine stand this engine table, because the guy couldn't back up into here because his car is out front. So we were right at the edge of the road where the dip is, and we had to push the engine table up to the truck, teeter-totter the engine on. I mean, it was crazy, I wish I could have caught it on camera, but it took 3 of us not to get the engine to fall over, because they sun it non-lift gate, so.
2,000 years later.
All right, so I took the top of the engine off, and I also took the oil pan off, made sure everything was good. I took the rest of the accessories off the front, and the engine actually is in very good condition. So it took a while to do that. Phew. And I'm tired. Believe you me, I'm tired. So all injectors, the original injectors, are in the trash. I kept the fuel rail, but the coils, spark plugs, all of that stuff is in the trash. All the wire harness is in the trash. I got some harnesses there just in case, but everything pretty much I put in the trash, because all of that stuff is brand spanking new or in extremely great condition on my car. So I don't want to use any of this stuff. Not the valve cover, not the oil pan. I'm not using anything. The damper, I'm replacing the front and rear main seal. All the seals will be replaced on this engine. I need it to be bulletproof when she goes into Olivia.
The next day.
So it's actually the next day, and we got pretty far on taking the engine down, inspecting the bottom, inspecting the top. Everything looked pretty good. We turned the crank, it turned pretty smooth. So what I'm gonna do now is pop off the intake manifold, and once the intake manifold comes off, I can manually clean the valve. So all right, good news, we popped the intake manifold off, and the valves are they aren't clean. They're dirty, but they're not corroded with stuff and big globs of carbon on them. You could actually it's the actual silhouette. It's like they're painted with carbon, like thin layer of carbon on it. So like it's not even worth cleaning. Like they're that clean. And also I have a custom catch can set up on my car that I will be using on this new engine that keeps the intake and turbo track free of any oil or carbon deposits. So these valves will never get nasty regardless. And that's just the newer version, because this is a later model N55 that had the heated PCV system, so it works a lot better than the prior models that didn't have the heated system. So I just taped it off here, and we're gonna pop it on the engine stand, rotisserie it over, and do the rod bearings and rod bolts. So that saves a lot of time not having to do that. And like I told you guys before, we have ACL WPC coated rod bearings. These are the same rod bearings that Turner Motorsports and ECS Tuning use in their track cars, so we should be pretty good with those.